It is.
Right. There we go. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you, Eli.
Good morning.
Morning.
Come.
This is gonna be our quietest week of the year, weekend
We
of the
have
year.
two people in the room. We expect the third one. So you're making them as one. Now,
Okay. My pleasure.
open Rosh Hashanah, Daf Chavtet Amud Aleph. The topic is a known, but we will see new interesting things. Rosh Hashanah, Chavtet Amud Aleph on the bottom. This is 2 lines from the bottom. Rosh Hashanah. You have 3 Masechtot there. Make sure you open Rosh Hashanah.
We're short by second. Rosh Hashanah. It's only 30.
Yeah, but remember, the Subiyot there and Kedusha Chodesh are very complicated. It's a beautiful Masechta.
Last night, did you happen to look up to see? Did you think it was okay to say Perashat Beshalach?
I did.
Notice.
I didn't. Also, remember, it's possible that here it's this way.
Yeah, I said it. I looked up. I saw it.
You
Slight little.
Fine. If there was a slight one,
I said.
You just learned.
Yeah. Put it this way: I said to myself, if it was completely dark, would the moon be beneficial? Absolutely. You could. It would help people.
2 lines from the bottom. Tanya Ava Breder Rabbi Zeira, interesting name of a person. Kola berachot kulam. Very famous. Afa pishi yatsa motzi.
Where are you? Chavtet Amud Aleph?
No, Chavtet 29a. Chavtet.
I'm sorry.
I wasn't clear. 29a. Kola berachot kulam. 2 lines from the bottom. Look at the Rashi, please. אף על פי שיצא שהרי כל ישראל ערבים זה בזה למצוות. So this is the famous, the concept, כל ישראל ערבים זה בזה למצוות means it's our obligation to assist others. So even though I was יוצא and I'm currently not obligated in the mitzvah anymore, let's say I made kiddush, the easiest.
This is to exclude Nehenin, I would think.
The next line, Eli says to exclude Nehenin, chutz mibirkat halechem ubirkat hayayin. I cannot make a motzi or mezonot or borei pri ha'etz for someone. Why? He is not obligated to eat the bread. He is not obligated to eat the apple. If I'm making a bracha for myself, I can always have other people in mind because of Shomea Keoneh. How Gemara is talking, I'm not part of the activity. I'm not eating bread. I'm not eating an apple. Can I make שהכל העץ בורא מזונות for him? No. למה? שאם חוץ מברכת הלחם וברכת היין, שאם לא יצא מוציא. If I'm eating bread now, I can make for another person because I'm obligated. He listens to me. Wait, before you tell, look at the Rashi. חוץ מברכת הלחם והיין, ושאר ברכת פירות וריחני, אין בורא מיני בשמים, שאינם חובה, אלא שאסור ליהנות מן העולם הזה בלא ברכה, ובזו אין כאן ערבות, שאינו חובה על האדם. The way Rashi defines it, Kiddush, you have to. Tefillin, you have to. Correct? But Birkat HaLechem, Birkat HaYayin, or Birkat HaReach, אינו חובה. And look how Rashi concludes, לא להתהני ולא לבריך. You decided to have a coffee. And you should make שהכל. But you're not obligated, correct? לא ניתן. If you are obligated, so my arvut kicks in.
Okay, yeah, it's a little misleading when he says "ein kan arvut." There is arvut if you gonna eat the apple,
So remember,
so you can still say somebody else.
here's the point. It's very important. It's not so. Eli says there is arvut, but if I eat, I can make a bracha for you, not because of our arvut, because of shomea ke'omer.
Oh, you're right.
Not
Okay, you're right. You're
Again,
right. Okay,
arvut
I take
means
it back.
arvut means I am currently not obligated.
It's a different concept.
If I make right now bracha l'aniach tefillin, Eli, it's a bracha levatala.
Right.
If a Russian Jew wants to put tefillin, I am making the bracha and I'm not putting mine on. But you see, I wanted to pay attention for later. The examples that the Gemara gave us on a no-no is lechem, yain, Rashi is adding peirot, vereach. Okay? Let me ask you a question. Am I obligated to eat meat or chicken? The answer is definitely no. But I decided to have a steak tonight, so I'm going to slaughter an animal to make ala shechita. Right? But I don't know how to make the bracha. Can Eli be motzi miyad the bracha ala shechita or not? You understand my example? If I want to eat kosher meat, I have to slaughter the animal. Am I obligated to eat the meat? No. Can someone be motzi me in the bracha Eli and separating teruma and afrashat and shechita? Tremendous machloket.
It's in Nehenin. I'm not sure.
No, it's not. First of all, the Gemara is not only Nehenin. It's Bekata mitzvot. I'm asking you mitzvot that I'm not obligated to do now, Eli. I'm not obligated to do shechita if I want meat.
Yeah.
Arba kanfot. If you wear a garment of arba kanfot, you have to put tzitzit. See, by shechita, it's a tremendous machloket in the achronim. But look how Rashi is medagdeg. Chutz mibirkat halechem ve'hayayin, and Rashi is adding you like which mitzvot, which berachot, only nehenin. Why didn't Rashi say in any mitzvah that you are not commanded right now to do? Yes. Rashi is hinting that when it comes to a mitzvah, if you decide to do lichora, yes. See, or Rashi is hinting to a totally different direction. Like Shagata here wants to say here, if this our Tamotzi is only. Oh, good morning, Sam. How are you? If you look at it.
Good morning, Rabbi.
You hear the question. The examples of the Gemara, the example of Birkot HaNehenin that you are not obligated. Yes. Kiddush, you are obligated, I have to make it for you, I can make it 10 times. A cup of coffee, you don't have to do now. The question is, am I obligated to eat meat today? No. I decided to eat meat. I cannot make the bracha, but I know how to slaughter. Can Eli be motzimi or not? Depends how we learn the Rashi, you understand? If you take the end of Rashi, Eli, look at the end of Rashi, lo lithani, lo livrich, I'm not obligated to eat, so perhaps only if I'm commended to eat, correct?
Yeah.
Let's leave it for now, but you see the two tzadim.
But I'm just not clear why. So certainly if I eat the meat, that's nehenin. But you're saying the shechita is ma'achloket of what kind of mitzvah it is.
Everyone agrees that shechita is birkat mitzvot, but it's not a mitzvah that you are commended to do. Again, it's not a mitzvah that you are commended to do.
So
if you want,
so you're saying tzitzit. I cannot say tzitzit. Can I say for somebody?
This is the same question.
Same question. Okay.
The same question.
So I thought we was
Eli is saying you come to the kotel, a Russian guy wants to put talet on. Can you make the bracha anim or not? He's not obligated to put it.
But it's not nehenin.
It's not nehenin. You understand?
Rabbi, when you say the piece of yain and lechem,
yes,
those are the only two. What about Havdalah?
So listen carefully, Sam. This yain means I'm a guest in your house and you are drinking wine during the meal. We're not talking about kiddush. Kiddush, the Gemara is raising in a minute.
Yeah,
it's a good question.
thing.
The Borei Pri Hagefen of Kiddush is the question the Gemara is raising now. You understand? I said the Gemara gave us 2 Birkot HaNe'enim, and she added 3 more. Yes. Let's say Ashkenazim is a good example. Let's say by Ashkenazim a woman can say bracha mitzvah shazman v'rama. Correct? Let's say she wants another person to say the bracha for her. Can I make a bracha for a female? It says to me, Rabbi, I don't know which bracha to make on Sukkah. She does not. Remember, she is not commanded to sit there.
Right.
But if
Yeah, no, you.
you realize it's the same question in the Shechita. You realize?
Yeah.
Any mitzvah, not Birkat HaNe'enim, not the bracha. All the examples Rashi and the Gemara give. Let's continue. I'm continuing with the Gemara. Listen, Sammy, your question. Ba'er Hava, Birkat HaLechem Shel Matzah. Tonight is the Seder. You have guests, they cannot make brachot. Can you say the amotzi for those? And remember, you are not eating with them again. If you are participating in the Seder, this case was by me. My wife's son was in the geriatrics near Maimonides. I came to make the Seder with her. Yes. Can I make the amotzi for her? Listen carefully. The bracha al achilat matzah ilai, of course I can. Why? She's a lady, it's the night of Pesach, she's chayab. But the hamotzi of, this is the question you raised before. Birkat halechem shel matzah, birkat hayayin shel kiddush hayom. I'm making kiddush for you. So the actual kiddush is definitely mitzvah that you must do. Now, listen how the Gemara is raising the question. Keivan de chovai hu mapik, which means what? The woman has to eat matzah. Correct? Matzah comes along with 2 brachot. Hamotzi and al achilat matzah. So perhaps the hamotzi is also becoming now like Birkat HaMitzvot, yes? Because you cannot eat matzah without. Kevan dechava od ilma, beracha lav chovai. Now, what does it mean, lav chovai? Of course, you who eats the matzah have to make the bracha. But the mitzvah is to eat matzah. You look at the Rashi. Rashi says, Ma'u al achilat matzah. לא תיבאר לך דחובה נינו מפיק, אלא ברכת המוציא וברכת היין, שאין באות אלא לפי שהמברך צריך שיטעום. אי אפשר בלי ברכה. אינמי לא טעים יהיו, אי אפשר דלא יעיב ללכת. This is the question. I must have the matzah. I must have the kiddush. Should we say that the Borei Pri Hagefen comes along because the reality? Okay, anyway, the Gemara is poshet. Tashema, this is the halacha in Shulchan Aruch. Tashema de Amar Rav Ashi, by Rav Papi, when we came as students to Rav Papi, have a mekadesh lan, he made Friday night for us. After he made kiddush for his family and his students, his workers came from the farm. They walked a long distance. They came later. Here, he made kiddush again Friday night for his workers, and the kiddush included the Borei Pri Hagefen. Yes, and this is the halacha.
What about hamotzi? So hamotzi d'Rabbanan is you, but according to Rambam, it's d'oraita.
In a minute you will see. Look further in the Gemara. Tanu Rabbanan lo yifrosh adam prusa le'oruchim. Don't make hamotzi to people, to your guests, ela im ken hu ochel imahen, unless you are eating with them. Again, because of Shomei HaKeoneh. אבל יעשו לבניו ולבני ביתו כדי לחנכן במצוות. If you have young kids, even though you are not eating with them, yes, you can say hamotzi for them. ובהלל ובמגילה, אף על פי שיצא מוציא. I can make the bracha and Megillah many times as I want and I can read it fine. He'll send me two interesting questions we're going to discuss. A, Hamotzi Friday night. Is it interesting here? We're obligated to eat bread, correct? Should we say, since we are obligated to eat bread, the Hamotzi is part of it, and you can make up, or like matzah, or not? We'll see in a minute. Another question. Last night, Sammy mentioned Havdalah before. Last night, I made Havdalah. Okay?
Yeah.
Can I make Havdalah for people who came later into my house, especially women? Let's start with Havdalah, then we'll go to. See, look in Shulchan Aruch, Reish Tzadik Zayin, 297.
So Mahloket Havdalah is like just like Kiddush, right?
This is the two shittot for women is Chayav Olah.
Rambam, I suppose that it's just like Kiddush.
Open Shulchan Aruch Orach Chaim. No, shofar you can definitely do. Why? Because shofar, he is obligated. You see, why is Havdalah different? So first please look in Reish Tzadik Zayin, 297. First, let's look at the first halacha. You have it in Reish Tzadik Zayin?
Yeah. Zion, got it.
Okay, you got it. מברך הלאה בסמים, אם יש לו. Last night, מגה ברכה, בורא פרי הגפן, first בהבדלה, then בסמים. אם יש לו. ואם אין לו, אין צריך לחזור אחריהם. You hear this? If you don't have בסמים, don't postpone your הבדלה. Make the הבדלה, you skip it. Later, if you have, you can make Besamim later. But remember, the Havdalah is a good Havdalah, even if you don't have Besamim, and you don't have to look at them. Look at the Mishnah Berurah, second bit, all the way on the bottom. אין צריך לחזור אחריהם, שאין מברכים עליהם, אלא להשיב הנפש, שהיא כואבת מיציאת השבת. You feel always gloomy when Shabbat is out. So if you take it's like people who are depressed, they take some chocolate or cake, something sweet. This is a Yav Besamim. But remember, it's not Me'akev. Now, go to the fascinating halacha. Go to halacha Hey. Like next page. Halacha Hey. See? No, look at the Shulchan Aruch. Remember, Mishnah Berurah in Seif Katan. Listen to an amazing halacha. Sammy. מי שאינו מריח. My sister-in-law, since COVID, lost the sense of smell.
Wow.
Or some people, I know a few people like this, some people have a bad cold and they don't have a sense of smell. Eli, you have a bad cold. Can you make Havdalah for your family last night and say, or not? There's an interesting case now. Right now, or my sister-in-law. The sister-in-law doesn't have a sense of smell. Finished. Here, look Shulchan Aruch. מי שאינו מריח, אינו מברך על הבשמים. And for yourself, if you make Havdalah for yourself, don't say בורא מן הבשמים. אלא אם כן, unless, נתכוון להוציא בני ביתו הקטנים שהגיעו לחינוך. As a father, you're obligated to make Havdalah for your kids 8, 9, or להוציא מי שאינו יודע. Says Shulchan Aruch, hear this? If I have guests, they don't know how to make Havdalah, I'm making Havdalah for them. But Besamim, I can't make Havdalah, I cannot make Besamim.
So
How-
what? But based on the first person of halachas, it doesn't seem like besamim is important enough to force.
Good question.
That's what the first. I don't know why we need hay if we already had aleph.
Wait, it's a good question. I'm just repeating the Shulchan Aruch to show you what he says and to show you why 5 Acharonim strongly disagree based on our discussion. Now again, Shulchan Aruch says, Eli, if you lost your sense of smell for a month, you cannot make besamim for yourself. If you make Avdalah for your family, right, you can. Why? How can I say Borem besamim? This is not a bracha for me.
But why don't we ask the question? Why don't you ask the question differently? What if Rabbi Prague said Kiddush Havdalah last night?
It's
And
the same
because
question. Right, very good. It's
and he
exactly-
left out besamim. Mela. So what?
Everyone agrees that I'm Yotzeh, but I'm saying it strongly because I'm not permitted to make psamim for myself. How can I do it for you? Look at the Mishnah. Look at the Mishnah Berurah now. It says Mishnah Berurah. You see Yud Gimel. You see Yud Gimel. Eli, you have Yud Gimel? או להוציא. כל האחרונים חולקים על זה. You know this? They all disagree. Who are they? Taz, Magen Avraham, Eliyahu Rabbi. This is a heavyweights. Why? What's the logic? Yeah? וסוברים, דווקא להוציא בני ביתו הקטנים ודשאר. If you do it for your kids, 8, 9, 5, שמוטל עליו כדי לחנכם במצוות, אבל לא להוציא מי שאינו יודע. Why? מכיוון שהוא אינו חייב בדבר, אינו יכול להוציא אחרים ידי חובתם. You don't have a sense of smell. You have no obligation. דאף בעצם קידוש והבדלה יכול להוציא אחרים. In general, I can make הבדלה 10 times or קידוש 10 times for others, כגון שיצא מכבר, שני הטעם שהם חובה על כל איש ישראל. וכל איש ישראל ערבים זה בזה. מה שאין כן בזה, שהוא רק עיר לארי, שהוא רק מנהג החכמים, ואין צריך לחזור אחריו.
So it's a nice minhag. Now we just changed everything.
What he is saying,
Or? Why don't you ask about hadlakat or? What about if you don't say, the or whatever?
they say exactly the same, and we'll see in a minute the same. Yes.
So why did they put those in if they're not? I mean, I understand. I mean, so why don't?
I'll explain your question in a different way to make it a bigger question. But first, let's hear what they say. They claim like this. Listen carefully now. If I made Kiddush, as far as this Friday night, I'm not Chayav in Kiddush. Remember, I'm not Chayav. So how can I make Kiddush again? Arvut. So they're asking, so what if I cannot make, if I don't have a sense of smell, but Eli has? Why can I make for Eli the same way that I can make? So they say,
There's no chava.
Kiddush, I am obligated. Even though I fulfill my obligation, I can still make it for you. Since Besamim, as the Shulchan Aruch said, is only minhag yafed that Chachamim established, right? Oh, so therefore, you cannot say it here. Arvut cannot. So now, this is what they say, and of course, Avadia will say, "Safek barachot le'akel." You cannot. Let's just continue the Mishnah Berurah, and then I'll elaborate on the question you said, Larry, in a minute.
Rabbi, there's two
Yes.
reasons. There's 2 reasons that Arvut doesn't apply to the Besamim. 2 separate reasons. One, I'm not. It's a nehenin, but I don't know nehenin. We don't say Arvut to nehenin. And 2, since I can't smell,
Good. So listen good. Your
it's a little
second,
different.
good. Your second reason is perfect. But, Sammy, we just saw the Gemara and the Shulchan Aruch. I can make hamotzi for you on matzah. Yes? I can make borepli a gefen for you on kiddush, even though the gefen.
But that's because you can't make that. That's different. Nehenin, this Besamim, nehenin pure.
Hear what he says. But why don't you say here that the Besamim is part of the text of Havdalah? What is Havdalah? Yavne, Yain, Besamim, Ner Havdalah.
No.
Wait a
no.
minute, what about Yak Nahaz? I don't see Besamim there.
But at the end of the day, we're
Yeah,
Ma'akev.
yeah, yeah.
Nahaz is only between Shabbat, after Shabbat and Yom Tov. The only reason you need a Besamim is when you go from a Shabbat to a
Right.
weekday. But when you go from Shabbat to Yom Tov, the Yom Tov is not Yom Chol. This is why you don't need it. You understand?
Yeah,
But anyway,
Neshama
then the point you make is correct, but you have to realize why, according to Shulchan Aruch, you can do it. Shulchan Aruch understood, Chachamim established Havdalah. Havdalah last night I made for my wife, Yain, Besamim, Ner Havdalah. It is part of the, as a matter of fact, Sam, if we would look at Besamim, Eli, as something I'm not really chayav so much, why don't you say it's a hefsek on the bracha, Sammy? I made Borei Pri Gefen, correct? I'm about to say I'm avdil. What allows me to say Besamim in between? If Besamim is not really so chovah as Maran says, the
So
answer
let me
is
ask you, so at the Seder, you're sitting at the Seder on that night, and Mara comes up. Could you be motzi your wife with Mara? No, because first it's an ending, because it's not a daraisa. They're both not, you're not a chovah. Is that correct?
in a minute I'm going to show you. There is a major machloket rishonim by Karpas. In a minute you'll see why. In a minute, by Karpas there is a famous machloket. For the same question.
Rabbi, if I don't have ass for Havdalah, can I do it the next day like Besamim? No. Only Besamim.
There's no Nehenim.
That's a weakness with Besamim. Don't tell me.
Sam, so we didn't see, but let me show you something. Look a second now. Sam, I'm reading for you. Look in Reish Tzadik Chet. Listen to the following halacha, Sam. Mevarech al haner, boreh meoreh ha'esh im yesh lo. With the same halacha that he said by Besamim, he says by ner. מברך על הנר בורא מאורי האש אם יש לו, ואינו צריך לחזור אחריו. ואינו צריך. It's the same.
But you don't do it on Sunday.
Correct.
Wait a minute. So it would be fair, Rabbi Prague, if you started off the class by saying what is the component, the real components of Havdalah. So then we start with Hilchot Havdalah.
Give me some credit. I'm a teacher.
No, I brought up Havdalah. The rabbi didn't bring it up. I brought it up. Yeah.
It's part of the, you have to build up the case in order
Right,
to.
so Havdalah, only the Yain and the Havdalah are really Me'akev. The Ash and the Besamim
Exactly. Havdalah is Borei Pri Gefen, המבדיל בין קודש לחול. This is it. My question to you is, but Chachamim did establish Havdalah. How would you, let's put it more than that. תשמע טוב. Comes up from Zaman Auerbach and he's asking באמת קושייה עצומה. Listen good. What happened, Eli, if by Brit Milah, Eli has Bezrat Hashem Brit Milah on Thursday for his grandson? What happened if there's no wine available, Eli? You're not here in Brooklyn, New York, you can get a million wines, and beer is not available either. שומע סמי, אומר שולחן ערוך ויורד דעה, הלכות ברית מילה, make the ברכות without the wine. Do this? Eli, the brachot after. The Moel made the brachot, yes?
Yeah.
Normally you take the cup, you say Borei Pri Gefen, then Asher Kedash Yedid Bibeten, then the Lokeh V'Lokeh Avotenu Kaim, the name. There's no wine. Shulchan Aruch says, Sammy, make the brachot after the milah without wine. Good?
You think Abraham had wine?
Abraham had wine. Abraham had wine.
Okay.
Abraham Avinu didn't make kiddush on wine. I mean, he made kiddush on chalot nagid. תשמע. Based on our logic, please listen good now. If a brit milah is done on Tisha B'Av or Yom Kippur, assume in a Torah to drink the wine. Should you make Borei Pri Gefen or not?
A little kid will drink it. A little kid drinks it.
Okay, so listen.
Hear what he said? A little kid around.
תשמע. Says the Shulchan Aruch in Siman, I didn't bring it. אין לנו את זה, we need one set of משנה ברורה באמת.
Oh, I thought you were looking for a
Okay, let's
second.
listen.
I thought you know.
says שולחן ערוך עם תקנ"ד סמי, אם יש ברית מילה בתשעה באב, let the woman who gave birth drink the wine. Hear this? How can a person who says בורא פרי הגפן במוציא the woman if the wine is not מעכב סמי? זו קושיה עצומה, here. Again, אם אנחנו אומרים that anything that is not מעכב, right? You cannot be מוציא. How can whoever?
Well, let me say, yain in kiddush, regular kiddush lo makeh.
No,
I mean, I'm granted rabbis established it.
No,
Milah.
but then you have to make al-halot.
No, what about Yom Kippur?
Eli.
Let's say you don't have nothing. You told me stories. People listening, they say.
Eli is asking, what happens if you don't have wine Friday night? The answer is kiddush must be recited either on wine or bread. If not, have in mind to be Yotzei Kiddush when you say Amidah. I knew a fellow is not alive anymore. He told me when he was in a tank going down in 1967 to the Suez Canal. Friday night, he told me, עשיתי קידוש כשהתפללתי, ככה אמר לי.
So let's say he forgot. Let's say he forgot. He's in battle. It's Friday night. He wants to say Kiddush. Would you tell him don't say anything? Or would you say Kiddush? He already finished the Amidah.
Eli.
So like
Eli is asking, someone is stranded, there's no wine, there's nothing, yes? And I would tell him, have in mind in Amidah, and if not,
would you say nothing?
I'll tell him just to say some psukim
really?
to praise Shabbat, but באמת, the halacha doesn't mention it because Kiddush was established and something. When Eli meant Kippur, in my shul, when Kippur falls on Shabbat,
There's a whole question about that. Do you make
think about it? What happens to the Kiddush?
The famous question, right?
Before we start our beat,
we announce probably.
Please have in mind why. Some machloket gedola is there chiyuv Kiddush and Kippur that falls on Shabbat. If there is a chiyuv, ad kedei kach listen what some people say. It's only for the finger, but listen. Why don't I accept Shabbat early, that make Kiddush, and then accept Yom Kippur? It is. You hear?
You can't.
Accept Shabbat after Plaga Mincha, say Kiddush, and even have a meal. Then accept Kippur 10 minutes before sunset. Chalas.
You separate the day out. You
Okay.
the night. That's very.
Should.
Just to show you the split. It's only to show you the split. Of course not. But,
Why not?
Okay, this באמת, it needs a class.
I like it. Let's start a new minhag. It's good. It's very good. It's right.
שאלה מצוינת, אבל Sammy, why not? אבל the שאלה has to do with the general question. When you accept Shabbat early, listen carefully. Does it mean that you extend the seventh day into Friday? When your Friday becomes Shabbat? Or I'm taking upon myself some of the halachot of Shabbat. You hear the difference? If you take the first side, listen good, that Tosefet means it's not I'm mekabel at the Gavra, I'm not accepting on myself new halachot. I'm taking Shabbat and I'm starting it on Friday, correct? Then why on Erev Kippur you cannot do it, because if Shabbat is extended into Friday, it's Kippur. It's Kippur also. Kippur. If it means to accept halachot, then it's a question. Then
we bring our beat though after.
So let's go back. The question is, why on Tisha B'Av Shulchan Aruch says, make borei pri hagefen at the Brit Milah and give it to the mother to drink? And exactly, Eli said it before, but Kippur Shulchan Aruch says the same. Give it to the woman if she's still in Sakana, remember, 8 days later, or find a kid. Why? You're not obligated to have the wine. The answer is, as Eli mentioned before, after it was established that if you have wine, make the Brit Milah on wine. Yes? This is it. This is the way Havdalah is. And this is the way Brit Milah goes. So now you understand why people disagree or agree with the Shulchan Aruch by Havdalah. Emet, that even if Besamim are not available, you don't need it. Emet, if there's no fire, you don't need it.
But there's no wine available. Or there's
no,
drink
but even the Besamim are available, this is the way we make it. So you can hear very well. Again, people, again, let's start again. Shulchan Aruch says, I don't have a sense of smell. I cannot make borei minei besamim for myself. Says Shulchan Aruch, but if you have people in the house, make it for them. All the Achronim are saying, how can you make for them? You're not really obligated to make besamim. The answer is, I'm not obligated for myself. But you see that if I do have a sense of smell, this is part of the text.
So let's go about Kiddush. What happens if you can't taste wine? So I'm a Varak Sheyatone. What do you do then?
Right.
Oh, drink, not taste, drink.
Over there, you ask someone to substitute for you, which means one of the people around you tell him, I'm making the Kiddush, but you drink the wine.
What happens, Rabbi?
How do you get the simcha?
If there's no
wine
one,
without taste?
if there's no one that can drink, it's only you and yourself, make Kiddush al Chali, and the bread on Matzot. You can, this is important. This is
so you have COVID.
Kiddush,
You can't taste
exactly.
it.
You have sugar. You cannot really have anything that really has sugar.
Diabetes.
I could argue.
Right.
I thought maybe I could argue on the wine because you want the simcha, the alcoholic thing from the wine. That's a part of the Shabbat. Now, So, that's what I'm saying. So even though you don't taste
we celebrate with
you're
wine.
celebrating with the alcoholic.
So you see clearly the din is that the course has to be drank. You understand? So either by you or by others. So let's summarize what we saw.
I just want to know, you're going to go back to Hamotzi wine on Shabbat?
Yes, of course we are.
Okay.
Of course, I have more Mishnah Berurah. So here in Reish Tzadik Zayin, we saw a tremendous chidush of Maran, but we really understand it, even though the Acharonim disagree. The Chacham Ovadia tells you we didn't safek brachot, don't do it. But again, Shulchan Aruch says, I don't have a sense of smell. I'm making Havdalah for others. It's okay. The question is, the Achronim disagree and they say, if you're not obligated to begin with, and you are not permitted to say Borei Psalmim, how can you be Motzi others? The answer is, after it was established, according to Maran, after Chachamim established that Havdalah is 4 brachot, this is the way it's done. If I don't have anyone, okay, so I cannot say it. But if other people are the machloket yafa mod,
But it's a little different though, because you said it's minhag. So even
though
they established
המילה מנהג זה לא מילה טובה. It's תקנת חכמים, but not as a חובה. I mean, Eli is right. You can't label the besamim as a minhag because it's not a minhag. It's you have to have it, and you have to have it. Besamim would be to realize that those who disagree with Shulchan Aruch would say, I have a perfect sense of smell, and I made Havdalah. Now Eli is coming. Can I say Havdalah for Eli according to them? I cannot, because the Besamim is not as Chovah. You understand? You have to be a man without a sense of smell.
Yeah.
Now open.
But when you say Borei Minei Besamim, what? So you're really saying when you have to do something when you say that. In other words, I'm trying to find. The thing is to smell something. It is no. What does it say? Lahariach or something. You know what?
Okay, there's no time to look now, but if you look in Ilchot Birkat HaReach in Chelak Bet, in Shulchan Aruch, you see that the reason why we said the text Borei Minei Besamim is because there are different versions. Yes. The Sfaradim say sometimes Al Atzei Besamim, not Borei Minei Besamim. Al Atzei Besamim.
It's the same thing with Mizonot. No, it's Borei Minei Mizonot. You didn't. What? Thank God he did it. Why do we have to eat it then?
If you have, no, but you must smell. No, but
Well, where does it say you have to smell? It says Borei, mi name is Zona. Borei, mi name is Samim.
mezonot, if you don't taste the mezonot, it's a bracha levad. Later, when you have time, Siman Reish Tet Zayin, 216. But we are looking in Siman Kuf Samach Zayin. You're right. Okay, remember this is for you, but this is for homework. But right now, open Siman Kuf Samach Zayin. You have Chelek Bet. You're right. Take one. Bet. This is Bet or Gimel. This is Gimel.
Yeah, we want bet.
I didn't know how many people. I knew we wouldn't have more than 4. Kuf Samach Zayin.
Why is everybody's away? Is there a holiday?
Vacation time.
Winter vacation. The shul today was a third, maybe a quarter.
The schools are all off this week.
All the schools.
Good. I'm going to do that now. Maybe I'm going to start that. Winter vacation in my office. It's a good idea.
Yeah, you know, but everyone took his children.
Then you have to go to Aruba.
Yeah.
Cuba or whatever, yeah.
The Dominican
I'm
Republic.
telling
or
you,
one of
my
them.
best vacation is my house. I have a big library. I'm looking, I'm thinking, no, I went Friday, I bought some new books. I mean, and I don't have to be on the plane for 4 hours. I have to stay at the airport. I mean, it's the way you look at it.
Depends on where you're going. If you're going to Eretz Kodesh.
Okay, listen. Look at Kuf Samach Zayin, the last seif, okay?
What?
Okay, look, first look on Yutet, then Chav. עוד פעם, 167, סעיף 1920. קוף סמך זין י"ט. Here, the Shulchan Aruch copies what we saw in the Gemara Rosh Hashanah 29. Listen good. מי שאינו אוכל, Larry, remember, this is on a weekday, הלכות ביציאת הפת, this is not Shabbat. מי שאינו אוכל, אינו יכול לברר ברכת המוציא, להוציא האוכלים. Finished. This is the Gemara we saw, correct? If I'm not part of the meal, Eli, אבל לקטנים, יכול לברך, אף על פי שאינו אוכל עמהם, זה לחנכם במצוות. You see how far מצוות חינוך goes? I'm basically saying a bracha that I'm not permitted.
Even some hold this Doraita that you cannot.
Let's look now in Shulchan Aruch. Mishnah Berurah, I'm sorry. Mishnah Berurah Tzadik Aleph. You see Tzadik Aleph? On the left column. You have it? Yeah. See, this print gives you even the סעיף יותר. אינו יכול, אפילו אין השומע, יכול לברך בעצמו. Even though the listener cannot. Now, of course, you realize I'm not talking about the practical halachot. Let's say the fellow says to you, I don't know the text. So tell him, listen, I cannot utter Shem Hashem. I would say for you, and when I stop, you say Aleph Dalet Nun Yud. This is the easiest. He's talking about the guy who doesn't know anything.
Oh, he's not even going to follow your words. Just slip in.
Exactly. I'm telling him, listen, when I come to this, okay. Now listen now.
So this is kind of Shomea Keonet. It's on the rest of it, Baruch Atah is all the other words. He is Shomea Keonet.
If you want next time, you can do. There is a famous Rabbi Meger. Can you say Shomea Keonet? Nechatzi Beracha or not? The case is that if there's a kid Friday night and his mother, can you make it part of the kiddush for his mom and part here? Look at the Mishnah Berurah. ברכת המוציא, והוא הדין בכל ברכת הנהנית. This is the Gemara that we saw, correct? Mishnah Berurah. זה דווקא ברכת המצווה שכל ישראל ערבים זה בזה. וכאשר חברו לא יצא ידי המצווה, אבל כאילו הוא לא יצא. You see how far the Mishnah Berurah is elaborating? Yeah. When another Jew did not put tefillin, as far as you are, it's as if you did not. Why is he saying? He's saying it to tell me, you are chayav. I am chayav to help him. So it's as if I didn't.
What did Lubavitch put that in there, Rabbi Prague?
Yeah.
Rabbi, on Friday, I happened to be, whatever, I saw on the corner of King's Highway.
Yeah.
It was 20 degrees that Friday. There were two Lubavitch sitting there in the stand on the corner of
Friday was 20 degrees and Eli travels on, where is it?
on King's Highway and Coney Island Avenue.
Two Lubavitch guys,
Two kids.
two kids.
They must have been, I guess, 15, 16 years old or
Because
something.
they had a week off, beautiful.
I just,
No, they do it every week. They go on Mitzvah every Friday. Every week.
Did you ever why did Lubavitch take tefillin? Because you see in the Gemara,
it was,
a fellow didn't put tefillin all his life.
Yeah, what is that called? The first one, the first time?
After the Lo Manach tefillin, it's called the Gemara.
Right. They say that all the time.
This is why they picked tefillin.
But it's interesting that they don't talk about, but the tunnel they talk about till ad infinitum. Okay, Mela, that's what life is.
This is exactly what life is. Okay. Masha'enken, okay. So by tefillin, by shofar, he is obligated. So you, because of arvut, is considered chayav.
But what about, well, then you have a problem by lulav. No?
מה שאין כן בברכות הנהנים, שאף על פי שאין חובה על הנהנה לברך שאסור ליהנות מהעולם הזה בלא ברכה. מזונות שהכל הגפן, the one that eats the food has to make a ברכה. מכל מקום, בידו, he has the choice שלא ליהנות, ולא לברך. He's not obligated to have a cup of coffee now and a piece of cake.
No.
לפיכך, אותו שאינו נהנה, me, the bystander, who is serving the coffee, אינו נקרא מחויב בברכה זו. ועיין לקמן בסימן קצ"ז, fine. When Rabbi Shlomo Zalman Auerbach used to have handyman coming, let's say a plumber or a carpenter, and the guy was not religious. It's a hot day. You have to give him something to drink. So Shlomo Zalman Auerbach used to tell him, "Ani gam ken tzameh, I'm also thirsty. I'm making a bracha for me and you." Finish. Understand? He didn't tell him make a bracha. He didn't make this. That. I'm making a bracha. Listen to this. It's cool because if I'm making shakol for myself and he is listening, even if he's not saying amen, it's of course it's nice.
This is easy, but where's tzitzit?
What?
Where's tzitzit?
Okay, no, we'll see. אבל קטנים, ואפילו קטנים בעלמא, שאין חינוכם מוטל עליו מדינה. And she is saying, what happened if his kids that are not my kids? They are my nephews, they are kids in the block. גם כן מותר לברך עמהם, כשרוצים ליהנות והם יודעים לברך בעצמם. כל שכן, כשהם מבני ביתו. Now, listen to this. Comes the Chazon Ish, please listen carefully what he's saying. I am making mezonot for my kids. They are 9. Eli is an adult. Can Eli be Yotze with the mezonot I made for my kids? It is. I cannot make mezonot for Eli because I'm not eating the mezonot. I am permitted to educate my kids, so I'm saying mezonot for them. Can you listen and be Yotze? It's
a great question. Great question.
You cannot be Yotze. You know why? It's like a new mezonot established for chinuch of kids.
I mean, you can't do it simultaneously?
I'm saying again. You have around the table 2 of my kids, and you know, I'm saying mezonot for them. You are a guest. I'm saying, I have in mind, be Yotze of my mezonot, you cannot. Now, of course, I would.
You can reverse it. I'll have in mind, and the kids will hear it. So much for the you know, you're saying.
I cannot have you in mind because it's mezonot. I'm not having.
Oh, you're not eating.
I'm not eating, and I'm doing it only for the kids.
Right.
That's sort of like why junior congregation kind of works. You know, a shul for little kids, where the older person says brachot or something. It's kedei lechancham b'mitzvot. No.
Correct. In a case like this. See, of course, the best.
Just give you permission to say Hashem's name. They're not really giving you. It's not really a.
The way I said, it's not a real bracha.
Just give you
the
permission.
halacha gives me permission to say the name of Hashem, even though they are not mechuya because of chinuch.
Well, that's what the Chazon Ish seems to be saying, right?
ככה הוא אומר, כן, זה משהו ככה, this is the way he defines it. Now, of course, the best idea would be if I have a piece of mezuzot myself, but cases I'm not having it myself.
Yeah.
Look further. Look further. Shulchan Aruch now, let's go in Kuf Samach Zayin Seif Chaf. This is like what you wanted before. Kuf Samach Zayin Seif Chaf. No, it's the same Seif you like, but the next. Kuf Samach Zayin Seif Chaf. You have it?
Yeah.
On top.
Yeah. Right.
Says Shulchan Aruch, this is a bomb type of halacha, but here, אפילו בשבת, שהוא חייב לאכול פת, yes? לא יברך לו חברו ברכת המוציא, אם אינו אוכל. איך זה יכול להיות? You hear this? I am coming to visit a fellow in a nursing home, okay? And I'm making kiddush for him, מותר. בסדר? Now I'm bringing water for him, he's washing his hands. Hamotzi. Says Shulchan Aruch, he is obligated to eat 1 ounce of chali or whatever, or pita, but I cannot say it for him. Why not? He's obligated to, it's a kushia atzuma. Look how Shulchan Aruch continues. Velo shari levarech leacherim, אף על פי שאינו תואם, when can I make birkat hane'anim for you if I'm not tasting it? אלא ברכת המוציא דמצה בליל ראשון לפסח, וברכת היין דקידוש, בין של לילה, בין של יום.
So is he, now we say, so hamotzi is definitely not doraita according to him.
Okay,
He's reducing, say, is it the Rabbanan or Minhag then?
It's a chobah. There's no, if you forget Ratzevach, you go back.
Yeah, so
it's a chobah. You need to see the logic. The logic is fascinating.
Okay.
But Shulchan Aruch clearly, but remember also, they're not you doraita.
So Lechem Mishnah is in Doraisa?
No. Some say, but most Rishonim say not.
So where is the halakha to eat hamotzi on Shabbat? Where do you learn that from? My mind is.
This is what we're going to talk. V'karat al Shabbat
oneg. Okay.
Kod Hashem mechubad Shulchan the Rambam in Perek 29. Look at the Mishnah Berurah now, and he will explain this question. Look at the Mishnah Berurah. אפילו בשבת שהוא חייב, you see Mishnah Berurah Tzadik Dalet. On top of the Mishnah Berurah.
Got it, I feel that.
אפילו בשבת שהוא חייב, זה שולחן ערוך, של משנה ברורה, היינו של כל 3 סעודות. ואף שהם חוב, יוליס, even though you have to eat bread and each one of the 3 סעודות, okay, הוא יאמור ליניאט לסעודה השלישית. listen to this, אין החוב עליו משום מצווה, אלא כדי שיהנה מסעודת שבת. ואין להמצווה עצמה חוב. אם נהנה ממה שמתענה, אין צריך לאכול. Again, let's see what he says. But listen carefully what he says. When you eat bread, Eli, which mitzvah did you have? The mitzvah of having bread, or the mitzvah I enjoyed the meal through bread? You hear this? Here you see our definition is everything. He is telling you, look at the pasuk in Yeshayahu. Vekarata l'Shabbat oneg. Velikdosh Hashem mechubad. My mitzvah is to have oneg Shabbat.
But it's also in the Birkat Hamazon. When you read this, it looks like you have to have a nehaneh is the same thing like savata, no?
Similar. Savata is only the amount that makes it all right. But listen what he says now. Unlike matzah b'leil Pesach, my obligation is to eat matzah. Yeah. The first night of Sukkot, my obligation is to eat bread. Here my obligation and fulfillment is oneg, through bread. It's a very fine line.
That's assuming everybody's oneg is bread.
Okay.
So that's a big assumption, it seems.
Eli is saying, not by everyone having bread is oneg. Fine, so if this is...
I'm not saying you don't adore, but I'm just saying it makes a thing that, whatever, if my oneg is a state...
Eli, if you're going to be stranded on an island They give you a choice, one type of food.
Pizza.
Okay, Eli says pizza. Pizza or
Which is
pizza?
Pizza.
Oh, pizza. Eli said pizza.
Pizza, אני מסכים, כן, כן, כן,
Hey,
זה
I'm
נכון.
Anyways, it's
No,
fine.
wait. Sammy, you hear the logic here? You hear the logic is I'm
Yeah.
eating the bread only to achieve onem. But the chiyuv is not the chiyuv to eat the bread.
Yeah,
Right.
but we treat it like it's the chiyuv to eat the bread. We don't make
You
that
could
the
say the same thing.
anymore.
You could
My
same
skin-
thing with the samim. The
Sammy.
samim are oneg too.
Everyone agrees with you, but we are trying to expand the Shulchan Aruch, otherwise the דבר מבהיל מה שהוא אומר. Why
Yeah.
can't I make a motzi for people around the table if I'm not part of the meal? If I can do it the first night of Sukkot, if I can do it by Pesach night, I can have a motzi for you. Why? Because over there the mitzvah is, here in this explanation you hear, Larry, what real definitions means.
It's just
It's
not
a
Nehini.
fine-
Bread is a higher level. Bread is a high. That's why we have Birkat Mazon only on bread.
Nachon,
Okay,
because-
no. So bread is
And
a
on
high.
Pesach, it's even elevated, more elevated. It gets to a special
Yeah.
level.
Okay, Eli is saying is because bread is
The
at a
highest.
higher level, that you say Birkat Hamazon on.
Even if I prefer steak, I say shahakol.
Miskaber,
You know what I'm
the-
saying?
the
It's just in
logic-
general.
Because logic says what you're saying is part of the svara, but the main svara you're only explaining why Chachamim told me that the oneg should be fulfilled by bread. You know
Because
what I
it's a
mean?
high, not because it's the enjoyment so much, because it's a higher level, highest level food, it seems.
Even though
Well, it's Eretz Titao, so right, I guess maybe, I don't know.
I don't love bread, it's still the highest level.
Yeah, come in.
Not the most-
every-
Lechem Yisad Levav Enosh, maybe, who knows?
Yeah, exactly. You can make
So
steak you want.
in concept, Eli is right, what I'm saying, but the chidush is my obligation is to enjoy through bread. מה שאין כן by matzah, מה שאין
But you see, but the point of the argument a little bit is that because you're saying that because it was the Oneg Shabbat. So you're saying the
Correct.
way I enjoy the Shabbat, we're going to
Correct.
tie it to the bread.
Correct.
Because
Right.
the
not
bread
because
is
everybody enjoys
the
bread,
bread
because
is
the
the
highest
vehicle
level.
that brings me to the honor. You understand?
But it's not. I'm saying it's not universal. You have to tie it into the fact that it's the highest level
Okay,
food
you're
because it's
Yeah, but Rob, don't we hold that wine and meat
by
both
bread.
equal?
What?
Say it, Mel.
Look a second. So the other issue that we raised in the beginning is a separate issue, but now there is room to. So again, we saw that even if I have by the end of the day, I have to have the bread.
Yeah.
But what's the reason, right? So now my question to you in the beginning was,
They don't have to.
you want to eat tonight meat, you know how to do shechita, you don't know the bracha. Are you obligated to eat the meat? Definitely not. But there's a mitzvah shechita in the Torah, yes? איפה זה נופל, אתה מבין סמי? זה מחלוקת עצומה באחרונים.
Right.
Another example. You are a farmer, you have teruma, right? When do you have to separate teruma? If you are planning to eat
To
from
bring
the
it in your house, no? Doesn't
Well,
have to be in your house.
right, these are conditions, reyat panei habayit. But I'm saying, what happens if I'm going to sell it to a goy? You are a farmer in Israel and you know that your crops are bought by Costco to be sold in, right? In a state where there are the Jews, in Wyoming, yes?
Send it to Saudi Arabia.
To Saudi Arabia, right? Now, there is no chiyuv to eat. I decide to eat my crops. I decide to sell my crops to Jews. So I have to take teruma. Okay? Can someone be motzi me when I take teruma and make a baracha? You understand my case? The decision that this teruma is being separated is mine because I decided the destiny, so to say, of of my crops. The question is, I mean, it's really, it has to do with the halacha. The Mishnah says, ilem, a man who is mute, lo yitrom. Don't take teruma. Why? Because when you take teruma, you have to hear the beracha. I'm sorry, I meant deaf. I was wrong. A deaf person should not cheresh. Cheresh lo yitrom. So the question is, what should he do? Should he ask another person to do it for him or not? Or
What about, why don't you say the same thing for shofar?
No.
shofar? You have no choice. Shofar, you have no choice.
But you have to hear it.
No. Of course
There's
you are.
only
Of
hearing,
course you
but
are
there's
right.
only hearing,
Shulchan Aruch says, here it is, that a deaf man cannot blow shofar for others.
Right, sure not. Okay.
Shulchan Aruch says, Rambam says, for that reason. Maybe next Sunday we'll talk. So, but what we left in the air is, if we summarize what we saw is, all Birkot HaNe'anim cannot be recited for a person if I'm not eating at the same time, except when he's obligated, like Matzah or the first night, or the first night of Sukkot, or Borei Pri HaGefen of Kiddush. Of course, what we are going to bring next week maybe is, how can the rabbi, listen good now, Eli, how can the rabbi make Borei Pri HaGefen when he officiates a wedding? Shulchan Aruch and the Rambam are both saying, if wine is not available, the rabbi can make the berachot without wine. אשר קדישנו במצוותיו וציוונו על העריות כדין recited if no wine are available. So how can the rabbi be motzi them? Next week, the same question is, okay, have a wonderful day.
Have a great day.
Rabbi, the karata v'shtavat oneg, isn't that a asmachta, or we're mamash learning the halakha from the pasuk?
The pasuk in Yeshayahu, yes?
Yeah.
If you look in the Rambam Sem in Perek Chavtet, seems clearly it's the Rabbanan. But, תשמע טוב, comes the Chatam Sofer and he wants to say, it is מאוד מעניין. He says the Shoresh, he wants to say that even a holiday of like Hanukkah, yes, might be Shoresh Deoraita. Every time you have a miracle happen, you have to be thankful. Chachamim told me and you how to do it. אתה מבין? אבל השורש, אני רוצה להגיד, עונג שבת in general, yes? יש מצווה לכבד שבת. חכמים כן, told me wear nice garments, ככה הוא רוצה לומר. Next week we'll bring this into account. So Sammy, who are you? You are with the grandchildren or you?
Yeah, grandchildren, Florida.
Very nice. Which children are from? Many kids or?
No, the first half is one son and the second half another son.
Have a great
Rabbi,
time.
thank you so much. Beautiful class.
We barely had a minyan this morning. Not barely, but we have 25 kids.
Wow, I don't,
Mal looks like $10 billion. Look at that Mal. Kanai Nahara.
Larry, try to behave. Try to
Look how
behave.
good you look. Stay there, Mal. It's looking good on you, kid.
Baruch Hashem.
All right, Kanai, enjoy it, everybody.
So Breder Shabbat is the same thing as Basar